All right, welcome to Knox Makers Tuesday. This is where we like to start off with a show and share. This week we have several to show off, so we're going to start off with Susanna, who's going to show off Detective Pikachu Step 1. Okay.
Hey everybody. So, like you might have heard like last year, like there was this whole bad thing that happened and then nothing happened because of the bad thing. Well, now that the bad thing is kind of like mostly over, things are happening again, like Otakon, which is, for those of you who haven't been, it's an anime convention, and what that means to me personally is I need to hurry up and get my costume ready because I thought it wasn't going to happen, and now I have like just a few weeks. And myself and my daughter are part of the hallway costume contest, so it's kind of important that, you know, we present ourselves well while we take in other people and they bring their costumes. And we decided 2 years ago that at our next convention we would all be Pikachu. And we all had to pick a different variety, and I picked Detective Pikachu. And so I have many steps to get this costume ready, and I started out with the most important step. I have made the hat. So like if none of the rest happens, I can put the hat on and say, I am Detective Pikachu. See? Hat. And so I haven't really done a lot of sewing in the last 15 years, but I have done quite a bit in the past. But this was something that I had not done before, doing a hat in a more heavyweight fabric. And all things considered, I think that it came out all right. I did use some stiffeners, some period stiffeners that they would have used at Sherlock Holmes' time, called Tarleton, and then I used a different stiffener I hadn't used before called Buckram in the brims, which was a little frustrating. I'm not entirely happy with my brims, but the rest of it came out okay. I did have to make a compromise with my ribbon up here. They didn't have what I wanted at the store. And sadly, I see that this particular ribbon is not holding up well. It's already starting to pull out. I'm gonna have to fix it. Oh my God. But anyway, this was my project. This is step 1. Hopefully there'll be time for a few more steps. Otherwise, this is the only step. But Detective Pikachu, yay. So what it looks like, they use it in printmaking today, and I'm not sure exactly how they use it in printmaking, but I had to buy it from a print shop. Andrew, you look like you know. Yeah, when it comes to garments, though, lots of your garments will have different stiffeners, like your collar right there. There's something inside of that that is not the fabric that makes it a little bit stiffer. And like if you have a coat, there are different weights of stiffeners. Hats have different weights. So like if you have baseball hats, a lot of the older ones would have actually cardboard in here. There's other materials like buckram. That's a common one for hat making. You know, I use that. It's only in the brims. And then the Tarleton is in these parts. And it's what it looks like. And I almost brought a piece and then I forgot. But it looks like cheesecloth that has been glued. So it's got, you can feel it in here. It's got a texture to it, but what it looks like is it looks like hardened cheesecloth.
Wrap the fabric around it, or is that actually what you use as fabric?
You sew it in, so you can't see it. So this on the outside, this is tweed, and then this is a lining fabric. It's inside. So like there's a layer in this right here, which is just tweed on both sides. There's a layer of the Tarleton inside. And on the brims, there's a layer of buckram, and there's a layer of other more, I guess, more recent stiffener in there to give it more texture so it'll hold up.
Thank you, Susanna. Next up, we have Dawn, who's going to show a 3D fidget spinner.
Okay, so I've had my 3D printer for maybe 3 years now, and I'm finally actually putting it together and trying to use it. So, because you know how it is, you get like 5 different hobbies at once, so you can't start until you get to it. And so I've been starting to print some things off on it, and this is what I actually printed off last night. A little 3D fidget spinner with a moving central base that kind of goes up and down on it, so it's just fun to stick in your hand and play around with it. I was really kind of surprised at how well it came out. I've been having issues with a lot of stringing with it, and I think what I figured out is that I think my temperature gauge may be slightly off, so it's why I'm printing at 176. It's probably hotter, it's just my temperature is saying that's what it is. So I was kind of calibrated and adjusted for that versus trying to figure out what's wrong with the temperature. Yeah, this took like maybe 2 hours, hour and a half maybe to print. But it came out pretty smooth, and I was really surprised by like how very little like lining there was with each layer. It came out pretty smooth in that aspect. So yeah. So it's actually 3 pieces. Yeah. So I think there are ones that like come where it's all like a single print, but this just came as 3 different pieces. I think I got it from like Cult 3D is where I got the file from, but like came with a short version and a longer version. So I just did the short version, but it's like reverse threaded. So like I was like trying to like screw it on. It's like it was not going on. Why does this go? And then like I turned it the other way, and it caught. And I was like, oh, okay. It's not righty tighty. It's lefty tighty. I would not have guessed that. Yeah, just simple and fun. There's a space on the top to like hook onto a key ring. You can like put it on your keys and have it with you.
Have you done anything else?
No, I've pretty much been fidgeting with it most of the day. But I think it's good that it's counter threaded, because then I'm not tempted to accidentally undo that as well when I'm messing with it. So.
Thank you, Dawn. It's, I was playing with it earlier. It's addictive. I don't know if you'll get it back or not. All right. Next up is Cooper with aluminum CNC.
Okay, so I've been playing around with the little CNC router over there recently, and just the other day I actually managed to get it to cut this power T into aluminum, and it actually did a pretty good job. So I'm back here with some more end mills and stuff. I'm trying to really just gauge what kind of metalworking you can do with that machine, and I just found that to be a lot of fun. And then I just forgot that I had this in my backpack. This is a linear guideway with a truck on it, and this is all 3D printed, and this actually has something like 100 little metal BBs in it. So it's kind of the linear equivalent of a ball bearing, where the balls actually recirculate in here. I'd love to take it apart and show the inside, but they would just all fall out. But I mean, I was just really surprised at what kind of smooth motion and how constrained in every axis but the one free axis it is. And this was something that one guy posted online, that he's 3D printed basically an entire 3D printer, where most of the linear motion hardware is actually just like metal pellets inside of 3D printed hardware. And I just thought that was really cool. Yeah, that was about it.
Thank you. I've seen the fully 3D printed printers before. Usually the movements are just bought pieces, but that's pretty cool. All right, Green Ho, you're going to show us a courtroom.
Yeah, so I got asked to build a courtroom. Yes, a courtroom. So we can zoom in on this, right? Okay, so this is what they were asking me to build. This is one of the Knox County courtrooms. If you are familiar with this, that's unfortunate. So anyways, I got let in, got to take dimensions off from all of these. So trying to build it for Knox County Public Defender's Office, with the idea being they could do like basically practice trials at their office. They can work with their witnesses, work on like how do we connect to the presentation equipment, that kind of stuff. So the idea was to make like literally exactly this in every way. You can see Isaac there. It's pretty recognizable, isn't he? Yeah. So here's just pictures of it. This is one. So it's difficult because they're all kind of the same, but they all have wildly different dimensions. So I was taking kind of like a agglomeration of all of the measurements and trying to put it into one thing that I thought was practical and neat. So if you were in here a few weeks back, probably like almost a month ago now, I was really monopolizing the space. So this was kind of it set up in the woodworking area here. It was kind of tough because like everything's so big, you can only assemble it so much before it's like kind of too impossible to move. So I was kind of building it and making everything fit without ever actually putting the whole thing together. And there was another design constraint on this one. We were putting it on a stage, and the stage had a stairwell that went up into it. And the sheer size of this thing would put it out into the stairwell, so it also has to be able to collapse when they're not using it. So that was another issue. Anyways, this is what a whole courtroom looks like in the back of my truck. When we first set it up, it's really whited out on this, but aesthetically it was not very pleasing. So we ended up taking it and cutting it back down. You can kind of see. You see how it's like one side slides into the other side, so it kind of slides in underneath. You can see it from the other side. It would pass through the front there. Oh, and yes, it does look ugly right now. The whole thing ends up getting a veneer on the outside. So this is after we've cut it down, made it a more aesthetically pleasing size. This is with the veneer going onto the front. It was a quarter-sawn red oak veneer. I thought it looked pretty cool. So you can see the slot here where the witness stand slides into it. Here's with finish going onto it. Here's the podium I built. I also had to build a table for this thing. That is really whited out. I promise that's a piece of wood there. Here's the legs. There's a table. Sorry, I'm getting messages for work about urinary catheters if you guys are interested. Here's the table. And then here's everything all done with a lot of the hardware and everything hooked up. Put a skirt around the bottom so you can't see all the rollers and everything like that goes underneath. I think from what it ended up being compared to what we were going for, I think it was pretty close. I'm relatively happy with it. You can see the desks in there. So if you actually want to fold this up, you just pop the desk portion off on the witness side, and then there's a couple just like door latches down on the floor that you just lift up to unlock it, and then the whole thing just rolls right in. So it, yeah. So it runs around like it's on roller skates. So if you don't have it locked in and just go jumping on it, it would just go across the stage. So that's what it is.
Do you promise to tell the truth?
No, I do not.
How did you end up getting that kind of?
Isaac asked me to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Helps to know a person.
That was very cool. Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Simone, who's going to show us a leather book.
I showed off my first one a couple weeks ago, and this is my most recent one. It has eyes on the front there. I can freak you out for a second. I made this a couple weeks ago for a book that just came out, and I wanted to leather bind it so I can tweet it at the author, and I did. And I put eyes on it by gluing little eye chips. They're dull glass eye chips, and I glued it on the piece of wood underneath the leather, and then I wrapped the leather on it, and I covered the whole thing in glue and moved it around until it had these eyebrow-looking things. I cut holes to make it look like it's eyelids. I put a leather bookmark in it because I like those. They're handy. Yeah, the book is called The Things We Don't See, so I wanted the book to see you. Yeah. But yeah, I made it, I cut the cover pieces, like this stuff, from the wood at the laser cutter, and then I glued it all together and wrapped it in leather, and then glued the book in it.
Is that just separately, or was that part of like the original, like the edges around the outside?
This part,
Yeah.
I put it on here, so it's 2 pieces of laser cut wood layered together. I glued the edge piece here onto the bigger piece, and then I just glued the leather on top of it to give it raised details because I think those look cool. She saw it. No interaction other than that. We'll see. If I keep binding her books, maybe she'll have to talk to me. I don't know. We'll see. I'll pass it around.
Those books look really cool. Is anybody else? That's it for the sign up? Okay, so we're going to go on to some announcements. We have a lot of classes. Our classes are really building up. We have a laser class on Saturday at 10 a.m. We have a hand tool sharpening class on Sunday at 6, right? Yeah, and then a blacksmithing off class on Monday at 6:30. And then that's this week. And then beyond that, we have a machining class coming up on the 15th. Wood inlay class coming up on the 17th. New member onboarding on the 22nd, and a milling 101 on the 24th. So a lot of classes this month coming up. So go to our events page and sign up if any of those sound interesting to you. Also, we are looking for volunteers. Does anybody want to we need to get volunteers for 2 things every Tuesday: taking out the trash and replacing the AC filters. Does anybody want to volunteer for trash today? Anybody? Okay, we got one here. And filters? Okay. Just today. Yeah, all right. So we got those volunteers. All right, thank you very much. And with that, that's it for today. We're going to go out to the shop and have some fun. Yes? Yeah, that's on the website. I'll come help you, okay? All right. Sounds good. All right, thank you all very much.